first set review on the channel, I have finally got my hands on the very first LEGO Star Wars set ever made. So let's jump right into it with the information. The set was originally released back in April 1st of 1999. It was set number 7101 and it was titled the Lightsaber Duel. It included 2 minifigures and had 52 pieces. The set originally retailed for $6, but in today's economy, if you want to buy it new in box, it's gonna set you back about $100, and if you're gonna want it used, it's gonna be about $40. Jumping straight into the minifigures, up first we have Darth Maul. If you want to get him new with great printing and all of that, he's going to be about $25. If you're going to get him used, he's going to be about $10. Taking a closer look at the figure, you can see he's got a great face print, especially for 1999, and a great body print. There's no printing on the legs and none on the side of the arms. Underneath the face, it's only on the front. The rest of it will be entirely black. Taking a look at the side of his arm, you can see there's no arm printing, and he has that chrome lightsaber specific back then to those years. And taking a look at the back, you can see there's no back head printing and no back torso printing. And then taking a look at the other side, still no arm printing. For back then, this was a pretty great figure at capturing that iconic red menace, but in today's standards, we have a lot better minifigures. And then just for fun, comparing the most recent Darth Maul with the old Darth Maul, you can see how much more printing and detail there is, especially with that torso and legs. The only thing I have about the new Darth Maul is the pupils, but that's for another day. So yeah, here's just a look at them side by side. And you can see that there's now back printing, unlike in 1999. But yep. Next up we have Qui-Gon Jinn, who retails for about $15 new and $8 used. As you can see, he's going to get about the same detailing as Darth Maul, with one face printing at the front, one torso printing at the front, and no leg printing or back printing. Taking off his head to get a closer look, you can just see there's no back printing and no arm printing, but he does have that chrome lightsaber with the green blade. Also, just for reference, here is the most recent Qui-Gon Jinn that appears in Darth Maul's Sith Infiltrator compared to the older version, and you're going to see that there's a lot more detailing, especially on the legs and on the back print. And yeah, so that's just for reference to compare those two figures side by side. And for one final time, here's one last look at these figures before we move on to the 2 side builds, or I guess the main build of the set. And there they are side by side. And yeah, that's both figures of the set. Moving on to the 2 builds of the set, you're going to get this water tower and Darth Maul's little speeder that he uses in the movie. This scene is based off the one scene where Qui-Gon first encounters Darth Maul and they first have that fight. And yeah, so that's what this scene is based off of. Obviously, this is back when they were just figuring out how to use Lego, so you're not gonna get that, like, and this is that old gray before they had the new gray, and it's just made of 52 pieces. This speeder is only using like 5 or 6. I think it's 7 actually. Nonetheless, it's still just like super outdated for what we have today. Same with this water tower here, and as you can see, like, it's just falling apart. The pieces are not that like strongly attached to it. There's more of that old gray though, and this is just kind of like a water tower, and you can kind of have them battling around this and like using it to just like fight off of. For $6 back in the day, it would have been pretty good value for 52 pieces, 2 minifigures with a Sith and Qui-Gon Jinn. And for reference, sticking Darth Maul on his little speeder bike I would recommend taking the cape off, because if you stick them on here with the cape on, it's gonna like ruin the cape, because in the actual instructions they say to put them on here with this cape on, and it's just kind of hard, and like you kind of have to get them under there. But yeah, you can just see how it like crumples the cape right there, and it just kind of makes it look bad. So like, yeah, I would just recommend like if you're gonna display it with him actually riding the bike, I would recommend taking the cape off and just having him on there without the cape. By the way, this is the same speeder bike build as you get in the Sith Infiltrator, released that same year. As for the water tower, it's a pretty simple build. It's made of these, which are super loose and are easy to get lost. So when you go online and like try and find one that's complete, sometimes it'll be missing these little gray wire pieces. I got this one for pretty good value in a pack of like 4 old Lego sets. So yeah, and like you can have Qui-Gon here, kind of like standing there battling Darth Maul as he comes in on his speeder here, and you know, you can have them just fighting. And it's pretty cool for 6-year-olds back in 1999, and it is a pretty cool collector set to have nowadays, since it was technically the very first Lego set ever released. Now, does that mean it's worth buying in today's economy? Probably not, unless you're trying to collect all sets like I am. This is not one that you particularly need. If you like collecting those, like you might want this because it's the first one ever made, but for $30, is it really worth it? No. Is it pretty cool to have in a collection? Yes, it is definitely worth having in my collection. I do find things that I like about it. The Darth Maul would be reused a bunch of times throughout 1999 and like 2000. And the Qui-Gon also sees quite a bit of repeating. And as for the builds, it's pretty simple and pretty bare bones, but back in the day, it probably would have been fun having Darth Maul ride up on his speeder and Qui-Gon sitting there battling him. And you could do a lot with just these 2 minifigures. And I just think that in today's modern set, they go for more detail rather than just simplicity. So, is that a good thing? Yes and no. I think that for 1999 and the very first Star Wars set, this did a pretty great job at capturing just this iconic scene of the very first encounter of a Sith back in Episode 1. And I think for a 6-year-old, this would be cool. And I still think 6-year-olds nowadays would enjoy this set. I just don't think it's the, like, greatest set for people nowadays, because there is so much better ones, and this is a kind of pricey set for how small it is. And I just think that, you know, I don't know, I think if you really want it, go for it. If it's not something you particularly need, then, you know, go for something else. But yeah, I think it did some things well. Yeah. As for the original box, I'll put it up there because I didn't get this with the box or instructions. This is the front of the box. It just has them battling with the water tower in the background, and this is the back of the box with the alternate build and just a little side picture. These are the instructions I used just off lego.com. As you can see, they just go step by step. And at the very end, it just shows you the alternate build and the picture, which is on the back of the box as usual. One more thing I wanted to talk about before I end this review is the speeder bikes. This one is from the most recent Sith Infiltrator set of 2024-2025. And you can just see how this uses so much more pieces compared to this one. They kind of have that same shape, but it's kind of up to you which one you think is better. In my opinion, I like the older style. I like this unique piece that they used for it. I think that was such a unique piece that they just don't have anymore. Same with this. I think it was just such a unique piece and such a great way to capture that. And you can kind of see the same shape as held. It's just used a lot more pieces to make this like bike. But I was just wanted to show you what the modern versus old bike looks like. And now finally, I'm just going to give you my final overall rating of this set out of 5 stars. I think I would give it a 2.5 out of 5. And that's just because it's super outdated, but it did so well for back then. So you kind of have to give it the benefit of the doubt for being a 1999 set and still having great minifigures, 2 decent builds, but just not what it would be up to in today's standards. So for my final rating, I give it a 2.5 out of 5.